Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Come with us as we recap more foolishness.
Y'all, this was filled with triflers, revenge, and psychos. Just the perfect mixture. It's called tit for tat. Mayor Drew Phillips and his wife see marriage counselor Sheila because the wife suspects that he's cheating on her due to her husband constantly being tired and not being able to perform. He denies it, saying he's just busy, but his wife and Sheila don't believe him. Sheila later meets up with her private investigator, Dre, and pays him to tail Drew and take photos of his infidelity for evidence. Soon, Sheila watches the news on TV about Drew, who was found dead in a hotel room from a baby powder overdose. His mistress was reported to have called 911, but he unfortunately died at the scene. Sheila has problems in her own marriage too. She and her husband, Frederick, see marriage counselor Nigel, with Frederick claiming that Sheila has been giving him the silent treatment since he got back from his trip. When she says he was cheating on her for the past 10 years, Frederick says he thought they were past that. Frederick is big-backed and bald. He should not be cheating on the beautiful Sheila. Sheila is cold and isn't open to speaking. Nigel tells Sheila that she should know that communication is needed for a marriage to work, pissing her off. Before they leave, Nigel asks them to get to the root of the problem. On their way home, Frederick sweet-talks Sheila until she shares that her job is taking a toll on her, especially when clients go to her because of infidelity. Frederick suggests that she change jobs before it causes them to break up. That night, the two do Pilates because Frederick needed to do some sort of exercise. The next morning, Sheila hears Frederick saying to the person on the phone that he's looking forward to their meetup. After receiving a missed call from Dr. Jones, Sheila eats breakfast with Frederick. When Sheila shows up in Dr. Jones's clinic, Jones informs her that one of her tests came back HIV positive.
You have HIV.
The line delivery in his face is killing me. She tells him that she hasn't been with anyone since she got married, refusing to believe that Frederick would do that to her, but she eventually breaks down and begs to take the test again to be sure. At home, Sheila drowns herself in alcohol as she cries and kicks Frederick out, making a confused Frederick furious. Sheila's sister, Candace, visits Sheila at home because she didn't show up for their lunch date, and she finds her in bed looking devastated. Not ready to share about her HIV status, Sheila says the doctor found a lump, and after the biopsy, she was told she has breast cancer. She says she hasn't told Frederick yet because she didn't want to burden him. Candace says she can cook Sheila food to cheer her up.
But you know you burn water.
Meanwhile, Frederick meets with a woman named Kelly, whom he thanks for being discreet, saying he doesn't want them to run into Sheila's friends. When Frederick shows up at Sheila's clinic, demanding to know why she locked him out the night before, she just says she just got triggered looking at his old text messages. Even though deep down she wants to slap him silly. In the car, Frederick receives a text from a woman named Deborah, who tells him to meet her because she has a surprise for him. He smiles and drives to meet her. During Jacob and Carrie Phillips' session with Sheila, Carrie says a woman told her that Jacob is her man and that he's planning to leave Carrie. The woman even sent the screenshots of her conversations with Jacob. She's frustrated that even though
And here I am, sick, fighting for my life.
she's still trying to be a good wife and mother, but he's out there cheating on her. Jacob denies it, saying the woman was just making things up and he's too busy at work because he's working on making partner at the law firm he works for. This man can't be a lawyer? When Sheila asks Carrie how often she gets hit on, Carrie says daily, but she never acts on it because she loves him. This is Sheila's attempt to make Jacob see another perspective. Later that night, Jacob visits Sheila in the office and tells her that the reason why Carrie hasn't cheated on him and other women find him irresistible is because he's gifted in more ways than one. To punish him, Sheila challenges him to prove it, and let's just say that man got a pot belly, and he now has HIV too. When Sheila gets home late, Frederick says she seems to care more about her clients than their marriage. Pissed, she ignores him and takes a shower. Sheila shares with Nigel that a client, Jacob, reminds her of her father, who was a cheater. She adds that her mother got so heartbroken when her father left them that it made her too weak to beat cancer. Sheila asks Nigel if she was a fool for sticking with Frederick after he beat cancer and says she just wants to take her power back. Nigel asks her if she would have divorced Frederick if he had never gotten cancer, to which she says she doesn't know. At home, Carrie seeks attention, but Jacob refuses to engage with her. Upset, she asks who his mistress is.
My family told me not to your bald-headed little ugly fat.
Annoyed, Jacob says he's sick of her. When Jacob sends Sheila flowers and a letter, Sheila immediately throws them away. She later confronts him and asks him to stop because what happened between them was wrong. But then she can't resist when he smells her for some reason, so they continue their Pilates exercising. Shortly after, Sheila instructs Dre to tail Jacob. Sheila and Jacob continue their secret relationship, which makes them more distant from their partners. Sheila finna lose her counseling license. A month later, Dr. Jones calls Sheila and informs her that they got her records mixed up with another patient's records. Sheila doesn't have HIV after all. This is why you can't trust no big back doctor. Sheila is horrified and says her whole life has changed because of this. Jones tells her to come back in 6 months for her regular screening and to stop any medication she has been taking. After the call, she breaks down, consumed by the guilt of what she has done. Later, when Jacob visits her office, Sheila tells him that they can't see each other anymore. She says receiving some good news made her realize that life is too short not to try to make it work with her husband. When he asked what the good news is, she explains that she thought she was dying because the doctor told her she's HIV positive a month ago, but it turns out the doctor mixed up her records with somebody else's. This makes Jacob more furious because she out here spreading her legs and the disease. Sheila says they both know that what they had was never serious and urges him to give his marriage another chance. Furious, Jacob tells her that she's his and accuses her of being in denial. He then chokes her and suggests that she call her doctor because he has full-blown AIDS, and he's sure she got it now. As it turns out, Carrie was diagnosed with AIDS.
And here I am, sick, fighting for my life.
I'm absolutely gagged. When Sheila gets home, a drunk Frederick forces her to drink with him, calling him his loyal wife. He then informs her that he has AIDS and advises her to get checked too. Sheila plays dumb and lets Frederick take the blame as he profusely apologizes to her. Later, Candace shares with Sheila that she thinks the guy she's dating is the one, so she wants her to meet him over dinner. But to Sheila's horror, Candace arrives to dinner with Jacob. Sheila tries to act nice, but when they are left alone, Sheila demands that Jacob stop. But Jacob only infuriates her, telling her he's just getting started. While having dinner, Frederick leaves the table to answer a call, and Candace goes to the bathroom. Jacob takes this opportunity to ask Sheila if she misses him, prompting her to leave. Jacob follows her to the kitchen and hugs her from behind, smelling her and saying she always smells so good. When Sheila gets mad, he tells her to calm down because she'll blow her own cover. She threatens to stab him with a kitchen knife, but he just infuriates her further. Shortly after, Candace tells Sheila that Jacob might be the one because it's been 3 months, but they haven't done the deed. Sensing Sheila doesn't approve of Jacob, she asks her to be happy for her. Sheila just needs to call the cops because Jacob out here knowingly spreading AIDS. Sheila soon meets with Jacob and offers him $25,000 to leave Candace. Jacob demands $50,000 and that it should be in his account within 48 hours, and she agrees. Dre finally gets back to Sheila, but informs her that he couldn't find much on Jacob aside from the fact that he's a lawyer at a big law firm. She then asks him to look into her dad. 2 months later, a weak Frederick apologizes for his mistakes and shortcomings, wanting not to leave anything unsaid. He reveals that the times she thought he was fooling around, he was actually calling, texting, and meeting with wedding planners because he was planning to redo their wedding vows. He met up with Kelly to look into venues and met up with Deborah, who showed him rings. Frederick then reveals that he knew she was sleeping around because he was careful not to give her any diseases. She apologizes, saying she wanted to hurt him the way he was hurting her. He forgives her, and they both promise to be better spouses in their next lives. The next morning, Sheila realizes that Frederick has died in his sleep. Not from AIDS. He died of being too big-backed. When Candace calls Sheila to check on her, the grieving Sheila relays the bad news. Dre calls Sheila to check on her because they haven't talked in days, but she ignores his call. He calls again later that night, asking her to call him back because he found something about her dad. Sheila ignores Dre's voicemail and calls Jacob instead. But the voice on the line says that the number she's calling is either disconnected or no longer in service. Sheila receives another urgent voicemail from Dre, urging her to call him back immediately because Jacob is trying to ram the back of his car, but Sheila continues to ignore him. Candace calls Sheila to invite her to her dinner party, and Sheila accepts. When Candace gives her a heads up that Jacob will be in attendance too, Sheila tells her that they need to talk about Jacob. Candace tells her they'll talk about it after the party and hangs up. To fight Jacob, Sheila makes her way to Candace with her gun. Sheila walks in on Jacob proposing to Candace. Candace then greets their dad, who walks in because she wants one of their parents to be at the wedding. But this angers Sheila, who's in disbelief that Candace has already forgiven their dad. Sheila then reminds Candace that their dad made them hang out with his mistress, Karen, and later left them. The dad and Jacob are both confused as to why the other is there since they know each other. And upon hearing Karen, a shocked Jacob reveals that Karen is his mom. So Sheila slept with her half-brother? This some white people shit. Candace asks Sheila to just make amends with their dad, but she refuses to do so, even refusing to deal with Jacob. Sheila says she's going to do what needs to be done, takes her gun, and shoots. The screen goes blank, and we can only hope it was a double homicide. Candace breaks down, questioning what she did to deserve such a heartbreaking fate. She says she deserves to be loved, but she somehow ended up alone. She blames Sheila for ruining her life. But girl, you was about to marry your half-brother who has AIDS. This was a hot mess with lots of twists. It was wild. What did y'all think of this one?
If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because YouTube isn't recommending my videos. And if you would like to watch more foolishness, you can click here or here.